Hey guys, this is Kiro speaking, and today we are back in Photoshop because reasons, because design competition, because photo competition, and I have brought with me a little friend. Look at this. I have a mouse pointer. I was a big dummy in the first video. I didn't specifically tell it to capture the mouse pointer while being in desktop mode. So that was a little awkward. Fortunately I drew in some of the pictures, because otherwise it would have been a complete clusterfuck. But yeah, not today. Not today. We have it back, and will have it for the rest of the series. So now I can both draw, and you can see where my mouse is otherwise as well. At least partially in the places where the contrast is a given. So we are going to kick off with part 2 of the Saturn design competition judging, and we have wait a second. I need to explain something else. I just want to make sure that you head out, even if you've already participated in this competition, head out and reread the rules. I have clarified a lot of things since the first set of images came in, and many out of these people who have been submitting into this first category have broken the rules in various ways, especially when it comes to how to deliver these pictures. So I urge you to check it out and make sure that we have a bit more orderly a competition than what it was so far. Partially my fault, of course, so I'm not just blaming you. The rules weren't entirely clear in all their aspects. Anyway, we have another 12 cars to go through, and I'm going to continue my rather thorough approach that I took in the first part of this first judging episode, and or category rather. And yeah, let's continue with that. And then for future categories, I'm going to try to limit myself to, like I said or mentioned in the previous part, to the judging or explaining more for the really good entries, and keeping it a bit shorter, like 2 minutes per car max. So, yes, what do we have here? Total Techno is up next, so let's press that F button twice, and zoomy, and the car certainly does its zoomies. It's very, very strong directional push that way. No shit, Killer Rob, no shit, but what I don't quite like what you've done there, it's more photo thing than design thing, is drifty mode. Yay, drifts in the 40s. I'm not quite sure they were on that kind of level back then. But anyway, let's talk design. I think the design is solid, very solid. We have some good highlights with chrome over there. Of course, the bumper and along the edges here, nice trim overall, windscreen wipers, and now the complete car is full of shit. Yeah, I quite like the design. It's not stunning, but it's definitely on the good side of the scale, I would say. So I'll give you a 6. Nicely done. And now for the photo itself. I think the lighting is not really in favor of the car. It's very yellow. It's like extremely yellow. Let's see what... Oh, I painted on it. Let's see what happens if we just do a quick camera raw filter and pull down like to minus. Oh, okay, it's not just that, it's also... Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't have the dynamic range in the image of the tonalities to play with here, because it's a JPEG or PNG. It has the same issue, of course. It's just 8-bit per channel. That's not enough. Raw images have 12 to 14-bit bit depth per channel, which allows you to do a lot more with tonalities and work out finer details and so on. That is, of course, not a given here, but it doesn't have to be. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a challenge, right? No, but I'm not a fan of the color scheme we see here. This very stark color contrast is almost... it's too in my face, really. But let's talk about the posturing of the car. So you do get a nice speedy effect, and you have the Dutch angle going for... I don't really see what... Yeah, a little bit of tilt and stuff. Does it work? Yeah, not quite sure. I think I'm too distracted by the super orangey tint of the image, and the car being teal colored then is odd with just teal and orange in the picture. For the composition itself, if the car is moving into this direction, yeah, that's probably a good thing to explain in photography. You can create. There is no right or wrong, but you create various effects depending on how you choose to place the car in the image in this situation. If the car is moving that direction, as indicated, then you can do 3 things, really. Place it over here. That gives a very settled image because the viewer of the image sees where the car is going. It is not an unknown. It doesn't unsettle the viewer. So that is a very strong composition for not showing or not giving any feel of uncertainty. What you have done here is place the car towards the other edge, which creates massive amounts of uncertainty, because there could be a massive dildo in the way, right over there, right? And he's going to crash into it, but you don't see it, right? That wouldn't be a problem if the car was over here. So yeah, that's how you do photography. Always imagine what could be on the other side, and that is not a very realistic option, but that's not impossible. So okay, yeah, the stance, the drifty stance, I'm not a fan of. Not in the 1940s or early 50s. That's not really something you would want to sell your car as, because that's so hooligan. That's so filthy pleb. I don't know if plebs didn't have sports cars back in the day, so that's it's a mismatch. Let's say that and leave it at that. So overall image, I would say a 5. And next up is an alpha. Let's FU as well. Press F to pay respects. Okay. That is a also more of a luxury car design. It's a little bit in between sports car and luxury design. Very solid. I'm not necessarily a fan of these, or the rectangular blinkers on a car that has everything rounded for it. Otherwise, you chose to go with the convertible option. Nice, like it. Could have colored the roof differently though. Or did we go with the? I think it was the soft top, right? Yeah, I believe so. Or was the first one the hard top? Doesn't matter. Probably was the hard top. Was the first one the only one that had a hard top? Oh, I can't even remember my own car. But I think you did a good job overall. It's not overburning. I don't know what that thing is on the hood. Is it an air intake? If so, it's reasonably subtle and not bad at all. The sides could have used like a little stripe of chrome maybe along the middle. I think that would have helped it overall. Otherwise, it's quite solid, a design. I'll give the design a 5.5. So now for the image. Yeah, it's not striking. It is not bad either. It's like you're featuring. You could feature this image in a geological studies journal, and that would be a hit article in there. Yeah. The direction in the image is not that strong with the car in the middle. That is the option I didn't talk about previously. If you put it in the middle, it's neither one thing nor the other thing, and it's kind of going nowhere. So you need a lot of effects on that to make that work. Like if you have a lot of speed blur, then you can make that work in the middle. But yeah, this is quite solid. It's like very centered, not much happening. There's not much to draw the eye. It's a little bland, really. You have some decent highlighting going on over here and in the paint of the car, seeing some of the clouds. Of course, this is an unedited version. I would like to see that worked out. And if we just let's see what's in there, really, like real quick. One thing you can always try to just see how much detail there is. Just overdo the clarity, and you see some more stuff that could be worked out. And what comes out here, some of the really nice stuff, I would say, is over here in the wheels, and also a little bit of that in the paint and so on, just giving some more highlighting. The scenery itself is also a little flat because of the lighting, but overall it's a decent shot. I would give it a 5. And next up is OME, and as you can see, so for certain, this one is very much edited. And let's F it and zoom in. Yeah, all right. That is a very different look, and I like that. I like different if it's done well. So let's take a look at the design first. It is looking a little busy around this area with the triple headlights. No, it's double pair of headlights plus very large blinkers. I think these could have been sized down a bit, or these could have sized down. I don't know. Maybe have something be the same size would already reduce the amount of clutter you see. Then we have some intake here. Having this in red doesn't help. Like intake there, and intake there. Not drawing dildos, I promise. And then this chrome line. That was probably pretty hard to craft because it has this bend in it. That is a nice touch. I like it, especially seeing it in reverse like that. That is a great look. Loving it. And while I'm not so sure about the front, I think the rear you're quite outright nailed. That is perfect. Well, perfect. Yeah, there's always better in design when it comes to design, but this is a very good design there. Front doesn't quite do it for me, but I think overall you've struck a good plus design. The front drags it down. It's a 6. It's a 6. It's a good design. And now for the photo. This is very much a... oh, wait, what is going on there? Look at that. That is a little sloppy, good sir. Look at that. Look at that. We have very blue inside of the arches and there as well. And then the tires are grey. Same happens there. So I would say that it's a little bit of sloppy editing, but let's talk about the whole thing. The composition is really nice. I wouldn't say superb, but it's really nice. We have a good attitude for stance here of the car in front, and the second car is placed very well. It's a little in the background, it doesn't steal too much of the focus, but when the eye wanders there are still plenty of details to see and worked out. So, yeah, I'm really liking that. Now for the colors. This is a very blue and very red image. So it's the contrast between blue and red, which are like opposite ends of the hue scale. And of course that makes for a great color contrast and a striking image. Very deliberately so. And apart from the few blunders here with in editing, that these weren't desaturated along with the other more grayish bluish stuff, I think you did very well. This almost looks like a painting, like all the garage stuff. I really like this. I really like the effect. You've done well. So apart from I think this image could, with some more care taken in the editing, could have been an 8. But I'm going to downgrade this to a 7.5. I really like the composition too. So that is helping it stay there despite the small blunders. So yeah, 7.5. Well done. Well done. I really like it. And the next one on the list is by Prog 2000 LC. And I'm wondering if that is his name of the car instead of his screen name. But let's assume that is the correct screen name. And here we have the image. And, that thing in the design definitely looks a little large. It's like badging for blind people. And that is a nice touch. But I don't think it works all too well with this grill not having any outline. That's a pretty strong contrast. It looks like you wanted to keep it simple. You have a nice subtle line along the bonnet and one down here. So I think that is... It's a very understated car, and I don't think it's a bad design. Something is missing in here. But... I like it. I like it. It's a little bit of an understatement. And that isn't necessarily a bad thing. So, like everyone else going for the classic setup here with the lights, that just works. It's a go-to, but it won't earn you any super scores either. And this wing mirror looks quite far back. Like, maybe it should be more closer to that end, although no, then it would be not on the door anymore. Maybe it should be anchored there instead. But it's small, stupid stuff. And there seems to be some detail added on the back, which bodes well. So yeah, I think overall this is a solid design. I wish this was done with more nuance and a little more subtlety, because everything else seems to be. And this one is just screaming at me, I need glasses, good sir, could you please provide them to me? So overall, solid design, yeah. I'm struggling between 5 and 5.5. I think I'm going with 5.5. It's definitely, it doesn't quite get to good, but it's close. So the image itself, some nice speed effect. We have the wheels moving as well, unrealistically so, but that is not your fault. If you take let's say if you, no, wait, that should be correct. It's so weird with wheels because. Right, no, this is correct. If you take an image of a car that is driving by, and you don't pan, you just have a middle-ish exposure time, then the down part of the wheel, this side, will stand still, while the upper part, of course, has its highest speed. Because the lower end of the wheel doesn't move in comparison to you, but the upper one does. But of course we are panning here, so everything should be blurred in that instance, because this is actually, well, everything apart from the middle. I don't think our blur actually does that properly though. So yeah, that's a tangent, sorry about that. Overall, I think this... It kind of fits with the understatement. You barely see the car. It's not quite as striking. I think a slightly brighter color would have worked. So, I need to try something again. Give me a moment. All right, I think I have something to show you. Just trying to work out a few of the details and see if I can lift it out of the picture a bit more to get more presence in the picture, and I think this does it. So if we compare before after, you can see the effect. So the only thing I've done is edit a little bit of clarity, reduce the colors in the background, change the tonality to be a bit more subtle, so that the subtle kind of coloring of the car can shine through more. You need to keep that in a kind of balance. So yeah, this might be overdoing it slightly, but I think seen in isolation like this, it looks good. The only thing that I don't like, which would have to be reworked and or properly done, is that the shadow underneath the car doesn't get brighter like this. This is my mistake here in the very quick editing, but also in the original, as you can see. And that's just Automation doing it, so that would have to be adjusted slightly. But I think the quick edit here does show some promise of where I would have taken the image. And I think overall, compositionally, it works pretty well. It is a nice effect. It's not too much motion blur, it's not too little, and the scene is good. Yeah, it fits the understatement of the car, and yeah, well done, well done. So what do we go here? Oh well, that's not the version. This is the version. So just press cancel. It is that one. So overall, yeah, I think this is a good photo. A 6. And next up is a reindeer. And also, zooming in there. All right. What do we have here? Not so sure. This one looks a little alien to me. I'm not a fan of the look. It's like these eyes here with this stance looks like it's looking away and being sad and weird for being as weirdly ugly as it is. I don't know. I don't think these headlights work. Like this style of headlights in this context with this coloring and so on. And the stance, the attitude of the image, I don't think that works. We don't have any supporting chromey lines along it. And maybe that's what makes it look like it doesn't have any attitude either. Or any pride. Look at him! Like cross-legged standing there. Oh, please, don't judge me, don't judge me. I'm just a little car and I don't know how I was designed. So yeah, it's not that bad, but it's not something that I go wow over this design. There's nothing going on the sides, no wing mirrors, no windscreen wipers. There was nothing in the previous one either, but in the previous one that didn't hurt as much. So you have quite a lot of elements in front compared to everywhere else where there is absolutely nothing apart from, well, the door handles. Good choice, of course, for the rims and having them chrome. They are looking really fancy here, so that's good. Yeah, overall the design just doesn't captivate me. Not at all. I think it's to its detriment. It's looking so sad. Oh, yeah, it's a 3.5. But now for the photo. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, this doesn't give any vibes of strength necessarily. Maybe it's just the design that does that. The paint choice is an odd one, and especially this light that falls onto it here, or the reflection. I think that might be rocks in the reflection or something. Very, very odd. That doesn't add to the look, almost gives it a bit of a pearly look, which is just wrong for a car like this in this era. And there's not much detail worked out, apart from, of course, the chromey bits that do it themselves for you. Yeah, it's very centered, but overall you do have a sense of direction with the road going that way and the car generally pointing that way too. A little bit of trying a stance, failing about it. The background, massive negative space up here, nothing going on there. And otherwise, it's not that interesting either. But it's not really that bad of a photo. But I wouldn't say it's not a carefully made shot of a car either. I think I give you a 4.5 for the photo. And next up is Slyo from Pluto, and an edited version. And let's do the zoomies. And, okay, overall, nice theme to set it at night. I would love to see someone like really nail a night shot. Those are so damn hard, but can be potentially super rewarding. Like, you can pull off some fantastic stuff at night. Yeah. It's interesting lighting and stuff, but that's not what we're talking about first. So, badging, nice touch. Get the rings in the Saturn, and have the Mimas badging on the sides like this. I think that's a little too large, and yeah, it's probably a little large. I mean, you could have that line. The line here you've drawn. Is that part of the car? It might be. But if you've drawn that line and then placed the lettering on it, I would have gone for smaller lettering, like further down. But yeah, it's not bad. It's certainly not bad. You have all the elements that are required. You have obviously put in some effort as well. With the effort doesn't make for good things, unless you are skilled as well. But like some chrome lines, they look a little rugged still and rough. That's not great, but they're there, and I think that works. Maybe at the front here it's still overdoing it a little. And what I would point out is that there are no such chromey elements apart from the bumper at the front, and that might be what makes it look a little odd. Other than that, seems like a solid design overall. The rear is also looking a little awkward, but it's not bad. I would say this design is a slightly above, or no, slightly around average. So average would be 5.5. So let's give it a 5.5. So now, the shot itself. Setting it at nighttime is adventurous. I like that. Seeing the stars and the lighting of the cars is decent. What I don't like is how the cars are merging like this. There's no clear separation. You can't, like, from just quickly glancing, you can't even see where one car stops and the other one ends, apart from this headlight thing. And that is not necessarily a good thing to have happen. I would have placed this car further in the background, as we have seen several other people do, which works really well. You don't want to have two strong competing elements in the frame like this if you want to showcase one of them, or want to showcase it as an entity, a single entity. Then you kind of want to create a hierarchy of where the eye is going first and then second, while here it's just a blob where the eye goes to everything and gets confused, and that's not great. Other than that, I think it's a valiant, is that the word? Valiant attempt? Yeah, probably that, something. I know how it's spelled, but yeah, anyway, solid, could have been better. I think slightly below average, so let's give you a 5. And next up is Small Smithy, in an unedited shot with plenty of motion blur. An action shot, indeed. And, yeah, okay. Interesting design. It's quite different from the others. And while I would be pointing out like, oh, there's no chrome missing and stuff on the bonnet or something, this kind of works. And especially also this, like, you chose a bit of a blockier style for the grille, which fits with these. And also, the badging here is really cool. That's some work that has gone into that to make that work. And I quite like it. It's a more complex badge. But I think you made it work also, like, at the sides repeating. That's some solid stuff. Lots of effort has gone into it. And I think you make it work. I didn't expect that. Like, when I first viewed the car, like, just now then, here and there, I would want to say, is that it's like, it's It's weird, it's awkward, but then it's so different. It's so different, but it works. And you have all the elements in the right places as well, and it just clicks after a while. It's not the classic look that I was expecting. Maybe it's breaking my expectations a little too much. That's not necessarily a bad thing though. But I think you pull it off. That's good stuff. Yeah. It's so odd looking. It's much more square than you would think on this body, but it really works. So cool stuff. I think this is a design-wise a 6.5. Maybe should we go with a 7 because of how different it is and how well you pulled it off? I think I'm going for 7 here. This is very different. You're breaking some molds and you're succeeding, so bonus points for that. Otherwise, I would have gone with 6.5 here. All right, the image itself, unedited, of course, or was it? I believe so. Let's take a look. Yeah, this is the unedited version. Not that that really matters, because I'm just judging what I see. But I think you frame the car nicely for the shot you're going for. Focus well placed. You're having enough of a motion blur. Could have been a tiny bit more, I believe, or smoother. What I'm seeing here is that there's still lots of detail in these sections. So let me try to do something here and see if that helps or not. I'm just going around the car, around the car, around the car, and adding to it. And just reducing the brightness a little, and the contrast a little, and the clarity a little, to hopefully not get any halo effects here. Not the game. That still looks odd, that we need to fix. Like this. Okay, so I've taken a little bit of tension away. That was still missing. Let's activate the mask so that we see where I have been. That was a little too much, Gerob. Where I've been. Ah, fuck! Doing it with a mouse is not necessarily that easy. All right, roughly there. The mirror should not be taken along, but it's fine. It's fine. So don't show the mask. Now we can play. Come on, that's dehaze. That's not what I wanted to do. I was pulling that slider. So the effect I'm wanting to show you is like this takes focus away. Like I'm overdoing it, of course. This takes that takes the attention away from the main subject, while it also adds interest to the image in general. But if you want to focus more on the car itself, then you can take away some of the detail in the background by adding some blur, which I'm not doing right now. I'm like taking out some contrast and micro contrast instead. That's also something you can do, but in moderation. And we can, of course, also just blur it. All right, so here we go. I've just roughly selected the car. What was the shortcut? Control Shift I or something for invert? Yay! I remember the hotkey. And then we just filter it with. Oh, where do we go? Blur, of course. Gaussian blur, something like 10 pixels maybe. That might be a bit much, but let's see. Ah, that's way too much. Way too much. But a preview. Yeah, this makes it a lot smoother. Let's go with 3 instead. Preview. Yeah, this takes out some of the edge. So if you take a look at that now all of a sudden the car comes out a lot more, because you don't have the detail in the background to draw it from there. So it's a balancing act, and I just wanted to show all of you in general, not you specifically, the creator of the image, but in general what the balance is between main subject and the background. That is why playing with depth of field is so powerful a tool in general, because you can get the focus, the attention on the main subject, which is in focus, while everything else around is a bit more out of focus. And I think this would have been a better compromise for this image in general. Of course, you can't really do that without editing, or you should maybe have used more depth of field effect in Automation itself to at least get the trees blurred some more. I still haven't told you though what this is. Oh, look at the, oh fuck me. Okay, that's a big difference. This is the original. Look at this difference. Yeah. With the blur, it's so much smoother and more focused on the main subject. So overall, I think this shot has some nice lighting. I like the subtlety of the light, and yeah, overall it's pretty good. I'd say overall, that's a solid, good. It's more than solid. Is it good? Yeah, it's good. It's a 6. And next up is Vacco, who also has participated in previous challenges. Well, let's double F you, flip you off, and then we shall judge your car. Okay, design first, and we have yes. I'm in the wrong tool too. Let's grab my painty thing and consider this one. Don't quite know where I want to go with it. First observation, like the first thought that came to me, don't know if it's how you have set up the composition in the image, or if it is something about the design. It looks small and somewhat weak. I'm not sure why though, why I get this impression. So you have, I like the side design. That's straight up the first thing you see here. I like the design of the sides. The front, massive blinkers. I'm not sure how these fit with these in a design that is on the same, it's supposed to be on the same page. Maybe I would have preferred to have this kind of shape mirrored at the front as well. I think these are kind of bags under the eyes almost. And you have a nice line of chrome along the bonnet, and otherwise keeping it simple. I like that. Apart from, of course, the side grills here, which are nicely placed and crafted. Wing mirrors seem to be in the right place and so on. And then the rear. Also these. At least they are repeating elements, like they're repeating shapes. That's good. That's good. Keeping it somewhat consistent. This seems massive. It might be because the car is tiny, but and these don't look that appealing to me. Also, they look too modern, don't they? Maybe that's why it looks odd. Anyway, let's remove my clutter from the image. And I'm not convinced. I'm certainly not convinced about this one. It's not a bad design, but just doesn't talk to me much. So I need to give it, I think it's average at best. Yeah, now there's something wrong with it. I need to go with a 5. Sorry about that, but that is a 5 to me. So now, how have you set up the shot? First thing to note. The dicks in the sky. The dicks in the sky. La 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 la. There's plenty of room up here, and there's plenty of action going on. Like that upper part. Why is that even there? That's called negative dick space. I don't think it's working. So I don't want to have that much negative dick space. But yeah, like look at this here. This is fuck. Nudge the keyboard. This is the tiny sliver of the image where cars are. The rest is where cars are not. And I don't think that is a great composition for something that wants to grab attention. And it doesn't have a direction because the directional stuff gets cancelled out. As one car is moving that way and the other one is going that way. So yeah, I'm not too convinced about that. The lighting is nice. I like this. Like, just look at this. If that was more of a, oh, let's reframe this. If this was more of the frame, like, look at what kind of beautiful shot that might. Would have to have a bit more negative disk space up on top. Something like this. Look at that framing. And with this background here, maybe add a little bit of motion blur to it. And this lighting, I think, works pretty well. But yeah, overall, nah, it's not convincing. There are great elements in it, like I said, with this kind of sub part of the image. But overall, it's not captivating enough. It's not telling the full story. What is this? A 4.5 for me in image quality. And next up is zik-zak. And zoomy we do. Ooh, okay. Holy shit. Can automation look this way? I didn't even know. This looks like it was created on an absolute potato. Holy shit. More like... what? This looks like taken out of 13 or something. Like comic art style with weird texture quality all of a sudden. Yeah, this is very odd. I think you are suffering from lack of performance on your system. But like I said previously, you can suffer through the 1 FPS if your graphics card doesn't explode when you set it to higher settings. And just suffer through that, take a nice image, and then quickly change it back so that you can play, or start it in safe mode afterwards. Just quit the game after you've taken the screenshot, start it in safe mode, and change your settings again. That is also a way out if it takes too long to get out of the main menu. Because this looks like potato quality. But that is maybe also the issue with your design. It does amplify the potato-ness that you don't have any additional elements. I think the front elements are quite well chosen. They do work. I do like the grill shape in general. It's a little bit of an awkward angle that these sides look so different. Like the shapes that are on the sides of the grill look so different from this angle. But yeah, it's almost like this one is bending outwards a little concave there. Yeah, the front, pretty good. I severely lack any connection to the sides and the rear though. There is nothing going on that connects the front to the rest of the car, which is a pretty powerful tool, which you have seen already in some of these images. There's no connection there that could be formed alongside the car longitudinally, or a subtle little bar there, or something that goes along there. Yeah, that could have helped it to connect the front a bit more to the rest of the car. But yeah, overall it's not terrible. It just looks like a potato because potato PC, right? Yeah, I don't know. So what? The design itself isn't too bad. I think it's right there. It's solid. Could be better. It's not standing out as something like really ugly or anything. So I think you are at a 5. But now, of course, this photo. I'm sorry, but I mean, this very much looks like your PC just doesn't handle it. It's not a great advertising shot. Like, it's like a pro photographer coming to a photo shoot with his 5 megapixel camera from 10 to 15 years ago, and then saying, I can't help it. I just have my 5 megapixel camera. It all looks like a potato, but maybe that's just how it is. I mean, well, you're hired to take great pictures. And, well, design cars as well in this case. And you did a decent job with the car design, but I mean, it just doesn't look good. I think this shot could look good with on a high-end rig, maybe, with everything turned to max. The lighting seems to be alright. The colors seem to be alright. I like the nuances in the shades. But yeah, because of the potato quality, I can't give that more than average. And it probably should be a little bit below. So, because potato, you only get a 4. Now you know the trick that you can suffer through the 1 FPS if your PC handles the explosions that are going to happen inevitably afterwards. And next up is MGR99. Hello there, good sir. I remember you from all kinds of design competitions. This is your edited version of the car, and you have used the technique which made me clarify / change the rules, because in your original submission you broke the rules technically, but not in spirit. And that is because I'm a libertarian bastard. I do like breaking the rules in technically, but not in spirit. So I changed the rules to accommodate for that, and the rules were that compositing of images is not allowed. But what you did here, just so that everyone knows, is, and he was upfront about that, so it's all good. He sent all the originals. He composited the same scene and image taken with different lighting settings to create this single one. A very powerful technique I've used myself in photography, and that works really well. And I don't consider it cheating, because it's still all just taken in Automation and you make something cool out of it in editing. It's not taking a real life car and editing something of that into the image, or it just uses aspects that were photographed in-game, which is great. So this scene is made out of 3 different images with different lighting settings and combined in a pretty good way, I would say. This works. But let's first take a look at the design. MGR is, of course, known for really strong designs, and if you want to check some of his out in the previous photo competitions, please do. Very powerful stuff. Very nice badging. Several people have been going for this. I like it. I like this, just works. Not necessarily a fan of the hood scoop, but then again, yeah, why not? Standard setup for the lights, and great choice for the grille. And gives it a little bit more attitude, more strength. It looks strong because of the very rectangular nature of it. It's like, I'm edgy, but at the same time, I'm schmooth because I have a schmooth grill. The sides, quite good. I like this smaller side vent. And is that a hint? Yes, that's a hint of a chromy sideline. I think that works really well. Is that a little hinge there as well? Yeah, some good detail overall. Windscreen wipers. This, of course, is the convertible version, the soft top. And oh, nice touch. Just one wing mirror, and it is on the other side. And that is something that, of course, old cars can have. Nowadays, you have the rules that they absolutely are not allowed to just have one, unless you've just smashed into someone and stole his wing mirror. That happens from time to time. And yeah, good size number plate overall. Yeah, good rims. This is just a really strong design. It's not mind-blowing, but it's really strong. I think this is a very good design. So you get a 7 for the design. And now the image. This part of the background, like the scenery you've placed it in and how you've changed around the lighting and stuff, really cool. Really cool and well done. This is spectacular looking. What I'm not a fan of in this image, especially for the aero shot, is the extremely strong Dutch angle you have here. This angle is is a little on the strong end. This is slightly overdoing it, I would say. It feels wrong. At least at this strength. But I know it's so difficult to gauge, because if you just do it too little, it looks like you're just incompetent at photography, because, oh, you're not holding the camera straight. But if you do it too much, then it's like, oh, you're overusing Dutch angle, and every photographer hipster is getting upset. No. But what really works with how you've done the image is how you've worked out the lighting. Like, if you get this lighting on the background, like this stuff, then of course you don't get this side. So what we basically created here is that you have a massive reflector sitting there, shining back at the car. That's a very common technique. They take out massive reflectors, and so that they get the absolute perfect lighting. And you recreate the effect by just taking more images with different lightings. So I applaud you for that. But again, I am not a fan of the Dutch angle. I think everything else is really well done. So I think you end up at a 7.5 for the image. It is more than very good, but not quite great. Very well done. And the next one is... what? So what is your name? Is your name S31 or GT by S31? I assume. Let's just call you S31. So this one is by S31, and we have... Oh, okay. Okay. That's a shot with attitude. Yeah, like... Okay. Anyway, the car design, though. What is this clutter here? Not necessarily a fan of that. Could have been a little more subtle. Like one line would have been enough, and then, or maybe some kind of shape forming stuff. You kind of have that here. It's a little triangle almost, but yeah, I mean, quite standard at the front. You're using lines. You're using some kind of bulging here. Windscreen wipers. You have all the elements in place. Apart from this clutter, there's nothing that is cleanly taking the front to the back. So that's a bit of a miss, I think. Otherwise, yeah, it looks pretty solid. Looks like a pretty solid design. Let's give you a... I think this is straight up solid design. I think it's a 5. And then we have the image. Yes, choosing black and white, interesting. One advantage of black and white is, and why so many people think that, oh, black and white photography is the best thing ever. Well, black and white photography can cheat. Black and white, in my opinion, as an ex-photographer who has done a lot of editing as well, black and white imagery is so popular with artists because you can crank up contrasts and stuff so insanely high that you would never be able to do that in color. Because if you do it in color, the colors go all wild and shit. Like completely like psychedelic if you crank the contrast up. But you can't do so in black and white because there is no color. So you get these beautiful contrasts and really striking images without having the effect of completely killing the colors. So that works, and you have created a nice high contrast image. I love the framing you have done here. Like this, the bridge, of course, is... okay, the bridge is framing the car. This whole scene is framing the car, and very strongly so. Strong sky, the light in the background creates lots of contrast. I think this is beautiful. This is an excellent setup for a photo. I wish that maybe you should have moved the car further forward. Not down in the picture, but further forward, like maybe almost twice the distance from the bridge, and then used a longer focal length so that you still have that framing, but the car becomes slightly larger. and less wide angle in its appearance. I think that, because this looks like you're about-ish at, what does this image look like? This is about 24 millimeters, I would think, on full frame. Maybe even slightly more, maybe around 20. It's not going into fisheye or anything, but I think this would look better at around 40 mil, so that the car is a bit flatter and not as, a bit more proper proportioned in that way. Yeah, I think I leave it at this. I really like the setup of the image. I think it can be done better, but you're onto something there. This can be supremely strong, an image, if you pull it off properly. And I think you've come a fair way to doing so. So this one to me is like, if you pull this off properly, that's a 9. Like, really properly. You're not there. Not at all. But so I think I shall give this, I think you're somewhere at 6.5 for this one. So well done. And here we have the last one. We made it in our very thorough walkthrough that wasn't supposed to be thorough like this, but it turned out to be. So yeah, all right. Let's FU. You are Sky High, also a regular in competitions. And okay, let's start with the design. I think the design looks solid, more than solid. This is looking good. Some nice elements here. And there, it looks instantly, it gives the impression of very careful design. It is a bit more of a square look, and that is hard to pull off on this car. And I think you've succeeded. And it's not entirely square, of course. It's quite rounded, rounded edges square. But yeah, you're doing well. The windscreen wipers going from top to bottom, also an interesting way of doing it. Certainly error correct. Good rims and everything. There's nice details on the sides. Yeah, doing very well. The front looks snazzy. I'm not so sure about the weird double bulging on the hood, but yeah, I guess it fits with some of the more squarish looking things here. I think this design works really well. It is odd and it works well. So I think this is a very good design. Yeah, I shall give you a 7. This, to me, instantly looks very good. And now photo. Oh, it's the classic setup. It is the classic setup with the endless road in the background, and it just disappears into infinity. Infinity. No, that was a different one. Infinity. Why didn't you make this this picture? No, Sky High didn't do it because of that. But yes, so road going out to the infinity and coming from nowhere. But that's a problem here. Compositionally, I don't think this works. You tried to recreate something but didn't quite know how, and that's what it looks like. So there's no space here, none at all. I need some kind of margin there so that there's no lead into the image. It's just bam, car. Here you go, car, and then it leads out, but it leads to the Great Wall of Dicks. You remember that one? Yeah, the dildo wall. It's going to crash into it. So we don't see that it's infinite, and that's just such a shame. If you take this, you move away a little further, and then you zoom in a little and maybe lower the perspective slightly, so that and don't zoom in quite as much to offset the walking away, so that you get the top there, and you create about-ish, let's say, that distance. between wheels and the bottom of the frame, I think that would have worked so much better. Yeah. Let's give this a little try, real quick, just to see what effect it has. I want to show you. All right, let's just try to magic fill this. Come on. Did it? Hello. Oh, it's still trying. All right. So now I've just added. That is of course not great down there. Let's quick. Where's my mouse? Let's just quickly fix that up by painting over it. Not that small, please. Of course, this will be ugly as fuck, but at least it's somewhere there. Not quite as distracting. All right. So there we go. There we go. So not great, but it'll do. Do you see the difference? Do you see how much nicer the image becomes by just having this bit of a gap down there? And yes, of course, that is the wrong format now, but you see the effect, right? If we go, like, if we look at this, and then we, oh fuck, I painted over all that. Okay, no, come on, bam. Do you see what different feel this gets? From just having this extra sliver down there where there's nothing there, it just gives you that little bit of lead and margin so that you don't feel claustrophobic. And no, I'm not claustrophobic at all, but it is not great to have the main subject so close to the frame for no good reason. And other than that, let's not only talk about that. Lighting seems to be good in general. I like what you did, what you are doing with the highlighting. Now I have the entirely wrong color here. This part here is exquisite. This is so nice. It's like highlighting the detail without being super flashy, Star Trek-y in your face and so on. The sides, I like that you see the horizon line there still, and get this nice tonality shift. This quite helps the design of the car. And yeah, overall, I think this is a really, really good shot. Apart from, of course, this little issue with there not being a gap. Let me forward again. That doesn't work. Anyway, so I just added 80 pixels down there, and that was basically as much as you needed. As you could see previously, you can just rewind the video and take another look. I think that was a lot stronger. Anyway, that is the photo. So how much do we get you? That will be the final rating for today. And I shall give you a... The lighting is good. The lighting is really good. Some blunders with the composition, not quite pulling it off. But this is 6.5 for the lighting and the crispness of it. I think so, yeah. Yeah, I think this is well done. So 6.5, that's really good. And that means we do have a winner, and that is Esdom, taking it with 16 points. What a show. And that is a beautiful action shot of the car. Very nicely worked out details, beautiful design of the car as well. Just has everything going for it, and a very, very high score. So that is 16 points, 8 and 8 design and photo score. And I'm going to display all the scores on screen right now. You can see the second up is MGR99 with 14.5 points. Really nice job there as well. And then we have two 13.5s by Sky High as well as OME. And then we have 13 points by Smithy and by On38FR. I think what this has shown pretty well is how much room for improvement there really is, especially when it comes to editing the photos or just composing the shots. And I hope that is helpful to you, just in general, not only for this competition, but in general, taking photos and so on. Having a few of these thoughts in mind. and see what you can do with it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I shall see you guys next time.